And welcome back to another episode of Real as It Gets. Gordo, we are on number 15, and we got a special guest today.
Our first real guest we're going to interview ever. So we're very honored to have him here with us.
Mr. Racioppo.
You got that right there, Mr. Thiessen. I like that.
You know, I can speak a little Italiano.
Yeah, just don't call me Carlos.
Oh, I won't do that. You're not Mexican, right?
Carlo is so well respected in the real estate industry. Most people just know him by his first name. That's how well known he is. He's been on the Toronto Real Estate Board. He's been on the Mississauga Real Estate Board. He's been on advisory councils. He's the broker, owner, and franchisee of our LePage Realty Plus.
He's our leader.
He's our leader. His golf handicap is so low, he gets a special parking space.
Yeah, I wish.
At the golf
I
club.
wish.
Right?
And he's the future sponsor of our
You guys
podcast.
love to throw that dig in. You guys love to throw that dig in there. I wish I was that good. If I
You're
actually
good.
played, it'd be okay.
You got some game, Carlo.
Carlo, I don't know if you remember this, but it's I think my first year, you recruited me to go in the Mississauga Real Estate Board golf tournament,
yes.
and we won the tournament. I think I contributed a maximum of one putt, and you and it was Mary's husband completed the the
because
foursome.
he was Ian's a great player. He's still a great player.
Yeah, so.
But I was
Don't
those are the good
undersell
old days.
yourself.
That's a long time ago, Gord. I was a pretty good player back then, but now you know age sets in and
Well, I don't
things
know.
are a little rough these days.
I've heard stories.
You don't got time anymore. You got to take care of all of us.
Yes, that's for sure.
In the office.
You really want to go there?
We're
So
right into it.
You've been in the real estate business for
40 years this
40
month.
years. So
This
you
month,
started when
exactly,
you were
June
12 years old.
1986.
12 years old, the youngest.
13.
Okay. Wow. So you've seen every market.
Yes, I've seen everything. It's fascinating to go through all the different stages, but I never but since 96, it's been like 25, 26 years of just,
Of
going
growth.
up. We had a couple little blips in there, but nothing major. But there was a 25-year sort of upswing that we've also seen.
Right.
Nice.
And you started as a commercial real estate broker.
No,
is that right?
no. I started just as an agent. I was in university. I was my third year university when I got my license. And I just went through a podcast with my good friend Wayne Einhorn. I told him that, in third year university, I was in my Bachelor of Commerce degree at U of T. And I got my license. My brother and my uncle got me involved. And literally, just to give context, tuition was $2,000 in those days.
Mhm.
And I made $40,000 to myself. And we were on 50-50 commission splits in those days. So, because the market was crazy in 87, 88, 89, it was crazy.
So you were practicing while you were in
100%.
in university. It was your side hustle.
What
What were you going to university for?
I did my
BCom
BCom degree, and and then I was supposed to become an accountant, and then the accounting firms came to talk to me and talk to all of us at the school, and they are offering $22,500 a year for salary, and they kick the crap out of you, right?
Yeah.
So I did $40,000 in year 3 at university, and $70,000 in year 4.
Wow.
So I thought the world was easy. I thought that business was easy. I thought, this is crazy. How could anybody complain about real estate? And then 1990 hit. I went on my own. I was 24 years old. I opened up my own brokerage, and then all hell broke loose in 1990, and it was pretty rough for about 5 years.
So before we get into it, let's give a little high overview
Yes.
here, because I think we want to hear from the broker side of things.
Yes.
Gord
Yeah.
and I are always talking about kind of behind the scenes of the realtor, the day-to-day, and you deal with us from a different side, but you also do experience the market as well, almost first in a way, because you feel the growing pains. But before we kind of get into that, let's allude to what Gord talked about, like your background on, Trev and Rico and Aria and all the things you kind of accomplished there, and how that segued maybe into the
that's
brokerage
a little boring, but I'll give you what
Give a
I've
high
got.
overview,
So
yeah,
I
'cause I think
spent
it's
7
important.
years. I spent 7 or 8 years on the Mississauga Real Estate Board. I was president in 1996.
Yeah.
I was the youngest president ever. And then I spent 2 years after that at the Toronto Real Estate Board of Directors, and then 2 years after that at the Ontario Real Estate Association Board of Directors. And then most recently, I've been appointed as an industry advisory council member at the Real Estate Council of Ontario.
Okay.
So that's the organized real estate part of things. So I've been through all that. And throughout my career, before I bought this franchise, I sold real estate. I was just a salesman, and I sold residential real estate, commercial real estate, investment real estate. I did everything that you could possibly do. And we did it, after the 90s, it was just whatever you could do.
And because we don't want to keep it boring, Carlo, how do you feel these boards are doing today?
Oh boy. Okay. Who's actually watching?
Nobody watches. Trevor's mom and a couple
Yeah, a
other,
couple
like,
other-
yeah.
Let's hope,
Hey, no,
I
we
better hope
like,
this doesn't
hey,
go viral.
Yeah, it won't.
I got to be careful what I say here,
Just
and
be-
apparently I'm not going to be able to watch the edit. So
Yeah,
There's no edit.
there is no edit. That's what hey,
That's
it's
the
real,
problem.
Carlo.
It's as real as it gets.
Real as it gets.
So you know what? I guess the biggest issue I have with the boards and associations is that they're unfortunately not run by realtors or past realtors, and that's always been a difficult thing for me because it's hard for them to truly understand from the staffing perspective and from the leadership perspective. The board of directors are made up of realtors by and large, except for Rico. Now it's changed. So I've always had this issue with, people who haven't been through the experience. And I don't mean salespeople, with all due respect to salespeople. I don't mean salespeople because salespeople haven't, encountered the entire.
Yeah, we don't know the back end.
You don't know the entire realm of everything that we do. And so I've done everything. And so I always say at the board level, mind you, the CEO of Trev was a previous realtor and manager. So he's definitely a good friend and an experienced guy. But I guess the issues with the boards and associations, again, it's the lack of, I think, realtor understanding, a realtor perspective or ownership perspective that I always have an issue with when they come up with policy and ideas and stuff like that.
And they're not really intertwined, right? Because we actually haven't talked about this, but I think it'd be great to have one board. And
There's so many real estate. I mean, we used to here, we had to be a member of the Mississauga board.
Yeah.
We couldn't put listings on. They offered training.
You really want to get into that,
and that you could buy some signs there.
We just sent them cash.
We just send them money, but the Toronto Real Estate Board wouldn't go to different areas.
For 35 years, I've been preaching.
We need one board in Ontario. It would be so amazing.
And that's it. And I think Trev now has finally almost reached that pinnacle.
And Trev is the largest real estate board in North America, in the world. Okay, there you go.
But it always has been. Even 30 years ago, it was the biggest.
Right.
Because there is no other area that's so concentrated in terms of the real estate board activity.
And for those that don't know what Trev is, it's the
Toronto Real Estate Board.
Toronto Regional Real Estate Board.
There you go. Yeah, double R now. Yeah.
So they now have pretty well. They now pretty well have, I don't know, 90% of Ontario now.
Right.
And hopefully it'll get to 100 pretty soon. But yeah, there should be just one MLS system, one board. And we have a provincial association which does handle some of the politics, some of the more government relations issues.
Mm-hmm.
But really, one association, whether it's a RIA, Trev, can handle all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got CREA, who's on the Canadian side, the entire country. I guess there's probably a place for the Canadian Real Estate Association because
they run Realtor.ca.
Yeah, not only that, but we got our provincial associations all throughout the country.
Yeah.
So and in real estate is run and legally run through provincial. So there has to be some sort of provincial, recognition. But like I said, there should be one association, one board. Yeah, I was paying 3 MLS fees, 3 board fees, and I don't even use the system because I'm just managing it.
And the reason we find that frustrating is I actually had somebody ask me for a property in Waterford yesterday, and it was near London, Ontario. And because we're not all on one board, believe it or not, we almost have to go onto these third-party apps to find these listings. We can't just go on Trev. And if we're not a member of each individual board, sometimes we don't have access to that data, which is very frustrating. So,
and we pay a license fee to practice all of Ontario.
Exactly. So it's kind of silly when you think of that.
It's a frustrating issue. Yeah. It's slowly getting there. Hopefully, it will be that Toronto Regional Real Estate Board will be the only MLS provider in Ontario.
Right.
Beauty. Love it. So next then is let's talk more of the broker side of things because jokingly, I think you and I have had a couple lunches where I'm like, I'm just going to take over the brokerage one day, Carlo. It's not that hard.
I offered you the keys.
Every time we go for lunch, you make me not want to do it. No, it's easy. But I guess from the broker side, right? Us as realtors, we're boots on the ground, but I think you feel different growing pains of us coming to you, not necessarily complaining, but giving you our heartaches and what's happening and, our trial and tribulations, and then you having to deal with that. So where do you kind of see, I guess, the market today from your side, and where do you see it kind of going based on all the agents? Because we have 100
we have about 140, 150 now. We were at 200 at one point, but through attrition and through some changes in the marketplace, we're down to about 140, 150, somewhere in that range.
You got 1 and 2 here.
Yeah. Look.
And
nationally
going back to
ranked.
the number of agents that we have. So one thing you told me a long time ago, you were very reluctant to bring in new agents. You would like to have seasoned professionals.
Yeah, brand new agents are a challenge. Although a lot of you guys,
what's the attrition rate?
Trevor was brand new. You know, but we
how do you know? Like, how do you I was new too. Like, you took it. Me, I wasn't.
Yeah, you were referred to me, but you know, it goes to personal. But don't forget, a lot of new people have come and gone from here.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, you guys stuck around. So look, your failure rate's 85, 90%.
Mm-hmm.
And I spend an hour with every person that comes in to see me, especially brand new people. I spend an hour with them, regardless if I know I'm going to hire them or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I explain to them about the business and tell them that that's the failure rate. And then I say to them, what you need to do is you need to make sure you associate with the company and a group and a culture that is going to get you into that 10%.
Right.
Because it's just not easy to do, as you guys know.
Yeah, not to actually pump your tires, but I will here. Your door is truly always open, and like I've been here for 12 years. Gord, how long you been here?
20.
20. Well, we're never gonna leave, and I think that's a testament.
I hope
to
this
you
is on record.
This is
recorded.
I didn't push record yet. Hang on.
Make sure I get a
hold
copy
on,
of
my
this
phone's ringing.
so I can have this.
Is Real gonna buy Royal LePage now, or what's
that I can't control.
Yeah, I know. But for seriously, I feel like too. Yeah, what's that saying? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink it. Hopefully that was the right.
Pretty close.
Pretty close. Gord knows I love my analogies. See, I can't even think of the words. But it is interesting to hear that 80 to 90% because at the end of the day, I feel like you see this a lot, and I see it just being at the office. There's a new person. They're here for 3 months. They've bounced around different brokerages, and yet somehow then they leave again. It's like, what are you trying to find here? Because at the end of the day, you've got the 40 years of experience. Your door is always open. You do, coaching and whatnot. You're constantly providing, data and information and things for us to learn and grow. Yet these guys just leave.
Well, it's not. Look, the people that leave and don't make it are actually normal. Okay, you guys are not really normal.
Oh, thank you.
Listen, you're not normal in many ways. But yeah, in terms of the real estate,
what are you saying?
But in terms of the real estate business, I tell people, I mean, if you don't make it, if it's not for you, you're actually normal because 90% people don't make it. It's a tough business. And you guys have experienced that. I've experienced that. So I started from nothing and started from scratch. So I've been through all of that. I know what it takes to be successful. And it's just something that it's not anything to anybody personally.
Yeah.
Because it's not a personal reflection of them that they're bad people or not good. It's just not for everybody because it takes a special kind of personality to succeed in real estate because it's such a personal driven, like it's not so much that you sell a product. You could have a great product and be not a very good person and sell that product because the product sells itself. But in our business, we don't sell real estate. It just happens to be what we do. We transact in. What we do is we sell ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And human beings generally do not have a propensity to be able to sell themselves and communicate their personality in a way that makes someone else want to sign on the dotted line because that's ultimately all we do.
Yeah.
We have to have people know, like us, and trust us to be able to sign on the dotted line and want us to work for them. And that's that's really it. How talented are you? What talents do you have? What staying power do you have to have someone want to sit with you, sign on the dotted line, pay you the fees that we pay, and have you handle their most prized asset?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's so difficult, and that's why so few people succeed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
I think it's very well put.
Good, way of putting it. Because Gord and I always talk about the finances and the emotional element of the transaction and everything that goes into that in general. But Gord, I feel like I've been talking a lot here.
I was just going to lead on to that. So, like, we often deal with the emotional elements of the client. So, but you would be dealing with the emotional elements of
my client
realtors.
Is the agent.
So, how are you finding that right now? With we know the market's a little tough. Like, what are you seeing? Kind of not specific examples, but in general, how are agents feeling? What's happening? Because they had a great time during COVID when things were booming and things
put a sign up and.
So what's happened? Some of us veterans, we make some jokes about, when we meet with someone, say, how long you been in real estate? And they say 25 years. We go, oh, you're brand new.
Yeah. Because you've been in 40.
Because really, I've been 40, but I've seen a market like this. We haven't had a market like this last 4 years since the 90s.
Yeah.
So, but hold on.
So
Let's just say because we've talked about this market, and I'm curious. Do you think this is a bad or a good market?
So it depends. It's very good for quality realtors. It's very good.
We agree.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you guys are lucky. I'm not saying you're lucky because you got a luck of the draw, but you're lucky you have the personality and the perseverance that made you become who you are.
Yeah.
And that's why as a broker owner, I never know. I could meet someone, I can give them all these tests, I can write them down and talk to them, and I could think they're the second coming. But you know what? Until I see them in action,
Right. You don't know.
We just don't know.
How they work under pressure.
If someone can come up with a test, you'll make $1 billion because none of us brokers know.
Right.
And so that's why most business models will just hire anybody, anything, and just hope to see what.
Well, it'd be a numbers game. If you hire 100 people, 15
Correct.
are going to
And
stick,
so what
right?
happens
So
is they just know that 10 or 15% of them. If I hire 100 brand new people, 10 or 15. But the problem is we're not set up to handle that and deal with that kind of output.
We don't cold call.
Well,
we don't cold call. Rotor phone 1,000 agents a day. Ask if they're.
That's a good thing to say too, Carlo, here, because I feel like maybe expand on that because I feel like we are more of a boutique, family-oriented brokerage. Like, even though there's 140 agents, we're a very.
It feels like a family.
Not very big brokerage.
We're very close. We have one in Oakville, and we have the commercial side in Toronto. We all know each other. We're all extremely loyal and help each other out. So I feel like from that regard, we're not, what was that, the presentation?
No, but we're not calling it, like we get calls every day or at least every week from another brokerage. Hey, have you considered about coming to someone? Like so-and-so would like to meet you.
I'm sure you got a call
we get tons of calls.
But
we don't do that. We're not.
How can we do this? And it's all about money.
Unfortunately, it's a race to the bottom right now because not only are agents having extreme difficulties, the average agent having extreme difficulties, not the top agents. But obviously brokerages, we live on volume. And so we can't just live on the top 10% of our office. We just doesn't work that way. The models don't work that way. So we need our not so producing agents to produce a little bit more.
And so what are some of those agents saying? Like what are you like generally seeing? Like what kind of calls are you getting?
Because I'm loving this market.
Getting calls from
your clients, or just agents, like overall, what are struggling or not struggling? What would you say the mood is?
We get inquiries from agents who are just looking for another place. They think that another place is going to change everything for them, and it could, but I won't know that until I meet with the person.
Right.
If it's all about the money and the lowest fee, then no,
it's not the place for you.
It's not the place for you, and I find out but I'll still talk to them.
Yeah.
I'll still try to counsel them and tell them, what are you looking for? What is it that you're missing? And so we try to tell them that it's not necessarily about the fees because the fees don't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like my financial advisor. Whether I pay him 1% or 10%, if he makes me 100%, what do I care?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I always tell people, you want to
You're no BS, Carlo. And I respect that because you need that in this industry, truthfully.
Yeah.
And you need
call it like it is.
We talk about knowledge is power, right? You need to hear the good and the bad in order to make an informed, educated decision. I feel like the same thing goes for us realtors that you can, give us everything, but at the same time, if you don't have it, you don't have it. And sometimes you need to call stuff out like that.
So the biggest frustration that people like me have is we'll lead them to water.
We all like you.
Well, we lead them to water, but they don't drink.
Right.
And they're thirsty.
Yeah.
So they're so thirsty and so hungry. And we lead them there. I can't put it in their mouth, but they're still not drinking.
Right.
And that's the frustration. We go, okay, why? But again, it's not a personal judgment. It's just, it's their makeup. And it's something that we kind of grapple with as brokers all the time. And, we can't force someone who's in that 80 percentile, we can't force them into the 90 percentile.
Mm-hmm.
We can sort of show them some direction. And if they take it, then they jump into it. It's because they already had it, okay? But my coaching training is not going to make them go from the 60 percentile to the 90 percentile.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way.
No.
You have to be already mentally in that 80, 90 percentile, and I'll help you get into that percentile if you've already got it. I can't make you have it. And that's the challenge that we have on a daily basis.
So then where do you see 2026 going for the rest of the year? We're pretty much at the midpoint.
Well, okay, it's not a negative thing, but it's just factual. I don't see any improvement in the volume. But in terms of, because we operate on volume.
Yep.
The number of transactions is huge for us. we don't really care that much about pricing. Not that I shouldn't say that. We do care because it's our clients, but pricing and whether the market falls or goes up or down really isn't under our control.
Yeah.
All we're here to do is help our clients get to where they need to go. And so pricing, we have to help them with pricing, but pricing doesn't affect us. What we're trying to find is volume. And what's happening is that the top agents now, it's become so concentrated that it's now no longer an 80-20 thing anymore. It's now 90-10 plus. So really 10% of the agents are really doing 90% of the business.
Yeah,
Right.
and I would agree to that. I don't know.
We're
about you,
seeing
Gord.
that.
Like driving around neighborhoods, you're seeing the same signs, the same people. We're having a lot more similar conversations with the same agents, right?
Right. And we're not getting calls from agents that we've never heard of before, have just started, that are maybe representing a buyer, even. Like it's known agents that we've worked with or we've known for 10 or 15 years that are
And
doing that. So
it's kind of nice too, because I feel like we're back to doing our job in a way where we have it right now. Like we have that shared listing,
Yep.
and there is a lot of back and forth. There is a lot of steps on both the selling side and the buying side that we got to go through. We got to have that give and take. You know,
there's just questions that need to be answered, like, and
So
different
this
scenarios that
market,
pop up.
This kind of market is great for you guys.
yeah, no, I'm loving it.
The challenge is it's not great for people like us.
Well,
The
Because
broker side.
yeah, because
it's just because
we-
the volume
yeah,
overall
because-
in real
because
estate
the way
is
the
down.
splits work and all the revenues work, even though you guys think I charge you too much.
Yeah.
But
What'd you say?
that?
You say you charge us too much?
Yeah.
What?
but
How much do
but-
the lights
but
cost?
we can't- yeah, but we can't keep the lights on with our top 10%.
We got our own light.
With our top 10%. It's the problem is the brokerage model has evolved into this high volume model. And when the volume goes away, it's a huge challenge for us. And so we can't survive on the top 10%, 20% of our
Right.
agents. And so that's where the challenge comes in, really. And it's not just a financial strain, it's also an emotional strain, because a lot of people who are struggling, it obviously, they come to us.
Right.
And
Well, and like, I think sometimes people don't think of a real estate agent as being a professional or that's a career for them. We get asked all the time, "Hey, are you still a realtor? Yeah, are you still a doctor?"
Yeah.
Like it's a very common question
Because
because
there's so much
it's
turnover.
transient.
So much
But people forget that, like, it's just a career for us. And if the market's slower, we're going to earn less.
but
And if you're
you've
not doing
made
much
the-
volume in the beginning, you could be really struggling to make ends meet.
But you've made it a career, and the people that you deal with, your clients, inherently know that.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I feel
They're-
like we have our clients probably aren't asking that specific question as much.
No,
but-
they're not. But
but-
you
But
get
they
your
don't
point.
need to. They don't need to.
No, but I think to Gord's point too is I think it is getting better. I don't want to say like trimming the fat, but like it is getting better in that there was a time where, you'd get into, say, an Uber, or somebody was a past teacher or whatever it was, and it seemed like it was almost like, hey, I'm going to do real estate on the side, or I'm going to
Right.
transition into real estate, and almost everyone knows a realtor. You hear that a lot.
Right.
So to your point, Gord, like, yeah, which is unfortunate, because I think that the good, 10% we'll say are extremely professional and do all the 90% of the deals. And let's go full circle back to these boards. How do we get a little bit more
Well,
structure or integrity? Because we had IPRO, we've had some.
look, at the end of the day, the boards are still a very, very small amount of money for what you guys earn.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the Toronto Real Estate Board is basically your lifeline.
Yeah.
And it's all we really need.
It's our database.
It's your database, it's your lifeline. It's all we know, and we pay $700 a year.
It seems way higher than that.
Because when you pay your bill, you're paying the RIA bill, the CREA bill,
the Carlo bill,
and the insurance, and the health insurance bill.
Right.
Is that
So you look at-
funding according to Carlo? too, or
Yeah,
what?
funding according to Carlo. Yeah, I'll teach you how to fund things.
Can you sponsor us?
Yeah. So really, for what you get, we would, from industry, the macro industry part of things, I would like it to be much more expensive to be in the business.
Agreed.
Much more.
Mhm.
Me too.
Because that'll then take away a lot of the stuff that we just don't, the people who are not, and no judgment on the people themselves, but they really shouldn't be in this business.
Mhm.
Like 70-80% of the people should not be registered, should not be licensed.
Well, and I'm okay saying this because I don't think I'll be canceled for it. But 1 year when we had to renew our license, you have to go through the courses, right? And you have to just show watching the courses. I intentionally guessed each question wrong. and I still got to go to the next side. So I think there has to be some kind of,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah.
I think
Is this
so.
the continuing ed you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the continuing ed. There's no testing on it.
Well,
They
and it's
give you
also, it's the
questions, but
same,
there's no
But I'm
a lot of
saying
times
accountability.
that's
they don't
what's
roll the
really-
courses over. Like you want to learn about like the same thing 2
Yeah,
years later.
yeah.
They haven't updated the courses in a lot of
No,
cases.
But the
Same
reason I
stuff.
brought that up is because it's extremely frustrating for like Gord and I, who eat, sleep real estate. This is
We
our
wanna
job. This is
learn
our
more.
livelihood. We are extremely professional, just like the other ones. And if that's the caliber of like what it takes to maintain our license, which we're dealing with the biggest investments usually of people's lives, it's very frustrating when we're on the other side dealing with that. So I guess, how do we deal with that, Carlo? I know you don't have the answer for it, but
You know what? Look,
we're getting real.
it's you know what? The whole industry needs a little bit of a revamp.
It does.
It needs a revamp. It needs to be readdressed. It needs to be readdressed from the very, very beginning, and that's the educational side.
Agreed.
And once that's done,
Well, they tried to do that by making the real estate licensing process go through college rather than through.
yeah.
through,
The problem is, and you know, a lot of the young people are going to hate me for this, but it should not be online.
Mhm.
I tell people, you know, Rico did this survey, and it showed that we were like 9th or 10th ranked in professionalism. Up at the top was like pilots, nurses, doctors, engineers. What else was there? I forget. And I asked, so they go, oh, wow, we were like 9th or 10th. And I said, well, guys, look at that list and tell me anybody above us, tell me how many of them can get their certification online.
Yeah.
Right.
Literally.
Zero.
Yeah.
Zero. You can't become a nurse online. You can't
No.
become a pilot online. You can't become an engineer online. You can't become a doctor online. You can't do any of that stuff online.
You can't fail your test.
Our barriers to entry are brutally low.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And it needs to change. So I'm a big believer in you got to be in class.
Right.
You got to be there. You got to communicate. You got to talk to people. You got to understand what the business is all about. I'd love to walk in those classes and make sure people understand what they're getting themselves into.
Well, the whole industry is face to face. We
correct.
work face to face.
But
We're in front of
yet-
clients all the
But
time.
yet the whole training program is online.
Right.
And I think it's just wrong. I think it's not just, and I understand, but we used to do this. Okay, COVID changed things to online, technology changed things. But, you know, if you lived in Kenora, Ontario, you had to drive 3 or 4 hours to the next college
Yeah. Well, even when
and to take the courses.
Yeah.
And so that's just the way it was. Unfortunately for people out there, yes, but that's not where the majority of the people are from. The majority of people are still from the GTA, still from urban centers.
Right.
And so it's not a big deal to go to a class
Mhm.
like anything else. So I think that's got to change. I think I'm a little bit of a dinosaur on that one. It's probably not going to change. But I think that's where it starts from the very, very beginning.
Mhm.
And the barriers to entry and the costs of it have to change in order to keep this business at a professional level.
Right.
And I think that's been a little bit of a frustration.
Yeah, and I want to make sure we're keeping it clear that, again, everything is above board. Everything is professional. We just want to see it, maintained and continue to elevate because
No
It
question,
could be
but-
better. We want to see. Yeah.
we
of
want
course.
it to be everything. Yeah,
But I'm going to reemphasize, it's got no personal judgment on anybody
exactly.
that has a license that isn't doing anything. The issue is, how can you be effective? How can you serve the public? How can you understand what's actually going on if you've never sold a house or haven't sold a house
Right.
or
Correct.
haven't been involved with clients? And that's unfortunately 50-60% of the people.
Or one of the many myriad of situations that you get in,
Yeah,
because
and
every
it's just-
time you
it's-
do a
it's just-
transaction, there's something
now-
different that comes
and now
up.
with
Yeah.
all this work at home stuff, and there's very little contact with brokers and managers and speakers and all that kind of stuff, which we did constantly.
Mhm.
And you've got to go to work every day. You got to talk about real estate every day. You got to talk to your managers every day or whomever
100%.
in order to stay sharp.
Mhm.
Because it's tough.
Just the water cooler conversations,
Yeah,
even in the
it's
office here,
tough out
finding
there.
out what. Yeah.
And clients are way more discriminatory now. They want you to know they want to make sure you know
100%. No, and
what you're
Gord,
supposed to know.
Yep.
Gord and I talk about this like all the time where, because like even in our office, actually, like you're a big component of, or advocate of making sure people come to the office. Like we had 4 of us were debating a certain strategy of a listing and how we go back and forth on it. And honestly, we had 4 different opinions, but it all benefited each other of thinking
Right.
differently. And
How would you have done that if you didn't come in the office?
right. So, and I think we need more of that because every single day, 12 years, 20 years, 40 years, it's never the same. And you have to constantly be learning and evolving. And if you're not doing it every day and able to adapt and have people to rely on to ask questions. Like I'm sure you can say too, there's times you know most stuff. All of us know most stuff, but there's times where something new arises, and how do you handle it? And that's real estate is like that. It's constantly changing.
And the thing about Carlo, if he doesn't know, he knows somebody that knows, because
Exactly.
Carlo knows everybody, and everyone knows Carlo just as Carlo, because he's just that well known and respected.
That's
in
why
the
we wanted
industry.
him on the big
I don't know
15.
everything. I don't know everything, but I do. If I don't know, like you said, I know where to find the answer.
And so you've got your own podcast now.
Yes. Hey, make sure you guys all go to that, eh? According to Carlo.
According to Carlo.
So yeah, we've had. You know what?
We've had some big hitters
really
on
cool
there.
guests. And
Have you been on the podcast?
Yeah, I was gonna see if you.
No, I don't think I have actually. No.
Well, you know, when you guys
I'm not quite there yet.
when you guys start to perform a little better. just kidding.
Yeah.
But seriously, you know, I try to have guests on that provide value to you.
100%.
Yeah.
Because my audience is hopefully agents. It's not really the general public.
Yeah, you have a different.
Yeah, my
Gotcha.
audience is hopefully the agents who come and listen and talk, and hopefully we provide some value. And so I have conversations with people that are in the business. We've had some other non-realtors join us, but they were about leadership,
Business leaders in other industries.
You know, we had the chief of police for Peel on, and we just talked about how he runs his huge, you know, police force,
Right.
and the leadership and what he looks for and the things that
Leadership. That's
we talked about that. And so from my perspective, obviously leadership's an issue, not so much from your perspective.
Well, you're a leader. You're an industry leader and the leader in our
I have to
brokerage.
stay sharp. It's not always easy,
You look sharp.
but oh well. Hey,
You always look
I
sharp.
try.
Guys.
I try. Well, I don't know about that.
I
but-
dressed up for you guys.
yeah, I can see that.
Carlo usually gives me a hard time.
You got the rally cap on,
I
a
know.
t-shirt,
I know.
pair of shorts.
I knew. Wait, we have a big guest today. I gotta come and bring it.
Look at see, Gord's always dressed.
Corey always looks good. We talk about that a
Yeah.
lot.
So you know what? The industry does need to evolve and needs to evolve in a big way. But maybe the market will take care of that in and of itself. AI, I don't know fully. I've got some ideas, but AI is changing things. And it's not just, you know, things used to change yearly. Then it was monthly.
This is daily.
Now it's just AI is just changing things
Yeah.
literally.
It's exponentially getting
weekly and
faster.
daily. And where AI is going to take this industry, I'm not sure. I've heard many different opinions and advice and ideas. And you know what? We got to roll with it. Maybe we got to redefine ourselves. Maybe we got to provide a different kind of service. But AI is going to affect.
Vibe selling. That's what we're going to do.
Okay.
It's like vibe coding. It's vibe selling.
One thing AI
the
can't,
best on Claude.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
one thing AI cannot do is provide that personal
Yeah,
connection.
no, that
Yeah.
face to
But
face.
it will give you the information. It will give you ideas. It will give you data, and the data is going to get better and better and
Yeah.
better.
We use AI a lot just
Yeah.
for marketing materials, generate ideas. It's
But
just
clients
fantastic.
now- clients
It's a
now can-
tool to make us all better.
Right.
If you're gonna let that, you know, if you're gonna panic on things changing, then you're doomed either way.
No question.
You're left
about
behind.
So you just got to
Yeah.
incorporate it, use it to your advantage, and make you better.
it.
Yeah.
No question.
As your wall said, AI can't trash a hotel room.
Well, how do we want to end it, Gordo? This is good.
Yeah, we're
I
just
feel like we could do this for another hour, but
yeah, no, there's like we got a million more
he's
questions.
actually
But
busy. He's got another one after this. I
Well,
think.
no, I have an appointment after.
yeah, we've got an appointment. So yeah,
not
well,
another podcast.
we usually end with a handshake. So Carlo, just like to thank you for having
Enjoyed
for
Guys,
coming
anytime,
in.
Anytime, boys.
Thanks
anytime.
for being our first guest.
Anytime.
And
Just don't get me in trouble because I probably said something today I shouldn't have said.
well, don't worry.
No,
but it could get
Carlo.
worse. It could get worse.
No, we kept it PG, and I think it's good for people to hear the behind the scenes stuff, and we try to keep it as real as it gets. We're constantly giving real life stuff that's happened to us daily, because I feel like you just get the cookie cutter same answers, whereas we're giving them kind of behind the scenes, behind the curtains of like, this is what's happening, and it's hard, it's fun, it's good, it's bad, and people need to hear it, right?
Yep.
Okay.
See something different every day, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Something
question.
different every day. All right, boys.
Thank you, Carlo.
Thanks,
Okay, thanks
Carlo.
for having
See you
me.
later.
Okay.